Welcome to our Uni-Vibe series.
In this series, we're going to share with you Uni-Vibes from some of our favorite manufacturers.
And maybe we'll figure out, does the drive go before or after a vibe? On today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to take a look at a pedal. But before we get into that, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel. Click on the notification bell. Your interaction with us helps us interact with great people in the industry. In this case, we reconnected with our good friends at NUX after maybe a couple years of getting things directly from them and asked them to send us the new Voodoo Vibe for our Uni-Vibe series. They were kind enough to do that. You can certainly buy these online. Zzounds is a NUX dealer. You can also check to see what selection they have on their website.
Right, because they're so supportive of the channel, which is why we've mentioned them. So part of the Uni-Vibe series, this is pretty cool. I think back, first pedal we ever got from Zzounds, first time I ever reached out to them and asked them to help out with the series, was the That Leslie Sound series. They sent us their Rock Tree pedal, which I'm still shocked that I don't think they make that one anymore. And
It's hard to find.
Yeah, they should. It was really good. Had an octave thing in it. Very cool. Anyway, this pedal, pretty unique. I think pretty interesting in some ways. So real small package. I'm pointing up here because it should be floating up here. Yeah. Real small package, which is hard in a Uni-Vibe pedal because normally you have a photo cell. So they are using digital technology here. We've discovered in some of the other ones that that's coming a long way. Yep. But they also have analog drive-through. So they are like kind of combining the analog and digital world. You have a depth knot. Well, I should say you have two modes. You have a vibe mode and a chorus mode. You would think that the traditional Uni-Vibe you think of when you think of like Hendrix or Trower would be the vibe mode, but it's not. It's the chorus mode. So the vibe mode, if you think of a chorus pedal missing the dry signal, right? It's like a vibrato. That's the vibe mode. The chorus mode then is where you get all the swishy and the swirly and the thing that a lot of people know and love. Three knobs, depth. Right. So if you're in the vibe mode, you're just kind of controlling the pitch modulation of that. If you're in the chorus mode, you're controlling how deep the swirl is. I guess that's a decent way to describe it.
That too. Yep.
Speed, turn it up, gets faster, turn it down, gets slower. What's cool about this pedal, even in this little size, they have a tap tempo. So if you just tap it once, you're turning it on and off. But if you double tap it, you can you're tapping the tempo in. And there's a volume on there too. So I always say, sometimes, this is sound smart, right? Sometimes in modulation pedals, you get a perceived volume loss when you kick in the modulation. To combat that, there's a little volume knob on there as well. And one other thing, there's a USB port on the side. So there's firmware updates that come out. And as they come out, you can choose to plug it into the computer. I don't know if they've ever updated the firmware on a pedal that has that potential, but you could. You could do that.
Let us know how it goes.
Yeah, you could do that. You could plug it in and update that. And that's pretty much the pedal. Now we need to get into sounds.
Yeah. So we started out with just the pedal itself, no drive or anything. I grabbed, the newly acquired NF3, played it through the Tyler JT22. Through the star of the show, and I think we discussed that I was on the. Help me out.
You're in the vibe set. You're on the chorus side.
See, that's why you had to help me out. So on the chorus side, I want to take it for a clean spin. Here we go.
So one of the constants for the Uni-Vibe series is that I've been grabbing the 60th anniversary Strat, running it straight into the Uni-Vibe, and taking it for a spin on the same riff. So if you go back to any of the Uni-Vibe videos, you will hear this guitar playing the same riff in every video. And that's one constant we have for you. As part of the series, we normally take a minute and spin some knobs for you and go through those controls. So I think we're going to take a second here and run the depth control and the speed control for you, maybe in both settings, just so you get a chance to hear what that sounds like. We want to start, where do you want to start? Depth?
Yeah, we do that. We'll give you your clean reference tone. This is the PRS Silver Sky SE. I do have the Echo Tour on and the Tyler, and that's what you got going on.
Right, so we're running in the coarse mode to start, and we're running that depth knob. And now I'm going to turn it kind of all the way down. All right, here we go. There's a lot of wonderful things about getting old. Vision is not one of them. So, yeah, that was the speed knob. The word, there's no depth on it. It's an intensity knob. And it looked, my eyes could see that
Number
was
of letters.
Yeah, and I was like, well, it must be speed. So I'm going to go up to the depth. So that was speed. Let's run the intensity knob. I'll turn that all the way down. And we'll slow that down just a little bit. Real quick, we'll flip it over. There's a little button here on the top. If I push that, you see it switches to red. So we're now in the vibe mode. I'm going to leave the intensity way up just to let you play a little bit, just so we can hear the difference in sound. Maybe I'll flip it back and forth between vibe and chorus a couple times. Just changing it up a little bit. Should we do tap tempo?
You can. The pedal's going to move. The editor's not going to like it, but you should go ahead and do that.
I personally just wanted to see how well it worked. And sometimes it's a little iffy, I feel.
It's hard to get it if you want it to go really fast. Because a lot of times things only take 2 taps to get what you want it to do. And so you have to do it so quick. You're afraid of turning it off.
Yeah.
But it does work.
It works. I mean, I was able to get, I thought slow would be hard because I figured like if you put that long pause, it's going to think that you're turning it off.
Right. Right.
It worked.
Yeah.
Very nice. Should we get back into some clips?
I think we should.
All right. What'd you do in the next clip? Here, I'm going to hit the...
Yeah. I went completely non-traditional because that's what I am in the vibe world. As you can see, anytime you've watched this, anytime I get a vibe, I turn it into a tremolo or a chorus. So I was trying to get something kind of jangly. So I went right for the gold sparkled Gretsch. And then NUX sent us a few other goodies. And one of them was their 63 Diamond. And if you can tell from the grill cloth and the chicken head knobs, it is a fabrication, a likeness of something that rhymes with box. So I thought I would just throw that in there, turn the top boost on it, turn a little drive on it, and put this guy and play through this.
And you were using the...
I was using the Echo Tour, and I was using the Vibe side. Sorry, yes.
Interesting story, real quick. I know we already sent him to the video, but interesting story. Right here at our feet, which typically doesn't happen, is Charleston, the golden retriever. And he's just been chilling down here tonight because his mommy's not home. And the whole time Pat was like kind of figuring out what to play for this next clip, he was over here singing his little head off. So hopefully, we don't think any of that got picked up in the mic.
He was pretty much on pitch. He could have passed American Idol. It wasn't like William Hung was laying down here. He had almost a perfect D coming out of him.
So here's the clip. Sticking with the Fender American Strat, I grabbed the Exacta Fuzz from Barber Electronics. Unlike Pat, when I think of a Uni-Vibe, I don't necessarily think of a Vox amp with a jangly Gretsch guitar. Just for fun. So I would have been in the chorus setting and just kind of went after it a little bit. So that's the NUX Voodoo Vibe. Final thoughts?
I feel like I'm always giving caveats. Again, I love what you do with the Vibe. I just can't quite get there. I'm not always bold enough and think riffy enough to... So I always go back to leaning on how much I just love modulation in general.
Right.
So I joke that I make it sound like a tremolo or a chorus. But I thought that had a really full sound, and I liked... you could clearly hear the difference between when you go between vibe and chorus, even though it's backwards in your mind. And then the tap was kind of cool too. You might find yourself in a situation where you want to tap that in to work if you're actually playing a riff and using fuzz like you should with a vibe. But I thought it was great. It was a good idea for you to grab one of those because we're trying to put them in different price points. I think this is like $89, where I'm looking back here at $400 and $500.
Right. Yeah,
So
because vibes.
yeah, so it's kind of cool, and I don't think we struggled to get a good sound out of it at all. So for a pretty quick twist and turn for $89, I thought it sounded really good.
You know, and vibe is not Uni-vibe is not always something I think. How often do you click on your delay pedal or your reverb pedal? How often do you click on your overdrive pedal? Uni-vibe might be something that you want for like a song or two, or like it might not be something that you're hitting every song.
Right.
So can you spare a little real estate for something that size as opposed to some of the, like depending on what you're trying to do, right? If you're really trying to recreate the Hendrix sound down to the, the vintage vibe of that whole way, that might not be for you. But if you're, have a couple songs that you want to add a Uni-vibe to, that might be perfect. Mm-hmm. So I think NUX, like I said earlier, they always seem to be doing a really nice job with the stuff they send us. And I like that. One other thing I would add, though, is there's not, like you had said, like you're supposed to do. That's not a thing, right? Like when it really comes down to it, get a pedal, use it however you want. So if you want to grab the Uni-vibe and put it on your Vox and turn on the top boost and grab your country gentleman and go to town, go ahead. Go ahead. So with that, hey, thanks for watching. We certainly appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell, leave a comment. Anytime you interact with us, that's what helps us interact with companies like NUX and bring cool stuff in to share with you. So we appreciate that. And with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. Oh,
you out.
good hang, good talk.